because I don't really stream on YouTube. Let me go check my channel out though. Let me check my channel. How do I check my channel? My channel, be your channel. Oh, he's live. Let me click on live, check my channel. Oh, mute myself. Okay, so I am live. What's the link? Okay, share the link. Okay, all right, I am going. Oh, why did I do that? Okay, how do I share my thing? Share, copy. Where is it at? What's the option to it? You can okay, so I am just getting started here. If you have any questions, if you have a YouTube account, I don't know if you have to have a YouTube account to comment. You can test it if you want, but you can go ahead and do so. Have any questions? So I'm gonna go back into, not that I gotta post this on the thing. So give me a second. I gotta share the link on the Team Sideline app. Okay, title. That's the link. And I think this will be archived, so you should be able to view it. So I know first day of school. Well, first day of school for us. I know, like in Killeen, I think that may be also today, maybe tomorrow, next week. I'm not too sure. But in the event that you're not able to watch this tonight, it should be archived. You can go back and watch the archive feed from tonight's stream, if you want to call it stream. So I don't use a YouTube stream much. I'm used to the Twitch platform for streaming. But let's hope that this works out just as well. So this is where I'll be doing the most of my display. If you can't see, I'm going to shrink myself here. There you go. So you can see this corner here. Okay, so wait a couple more minutes to get started. I'm still dressed for the game. I had driven all the way to Lions Club Park. My mother-in-law had sent the text asking if there'll still be a game. I was like, wait. And I was like, what's talking about? We was passing Nolanville and we saw the clouds, and it's like, yo, what's going on? Well, that's probably like in the distance, and that's when we found out that there was a isolated storms that's kind of like projected for this evening, and that's why she was asking. So, well, I'm not too sure. I don't really check anything. I don't use my phone when I drive, and drop frames detected. Your stream quality may be affected. Yeah, I'm running a lot of stuff in the background, so if it's lagging or whatever on your end, it's because I have a lot of stuff running in the background. So I'll fix that later, so I can do that through settings some other time, but that's neither here nor there. So I was driving to Killeen, and yes, when I heard there may be like a storm coming, and then so I had Antonio check. There's a coaches app. There's a coaches team silent app about possible, like he's up to date with information with the weather and stuff like that. So I'm driving. We're about 15 minutes out, and then I see that there's like lightning about 10 miles away or something, and at the field, they had the gates locked because it's kind of monitoring the weather, is what it said. We're monitoring your weather. There's lightning about 10 miles out, blah, blah, blah. We'll update you at 6. Just as we're pulling in there, we saw these cars leaving, yada, yada, yada. And then we had him check again, and it said like, all the games have been canceled due to weather conditions. And then we're there. It's like I drove all the way there for the game to get canceled. So that's why I'm still in my coaching uniform, because I just got back from driving back from Killeen. But yeah, like, man, we're leaving and it's all cleared and everything, but it is what it is. That happens. Whether or not this game will be canceled, we will let you know. So we will I will keep you up to date on if this game will be rescheduled. We already have a rescheduled game for Friday. So from my experience from the last council game, is we don't get too many rescheduled games. Sometimes if it becomes too many, and maybe difficult to reschedule because of the current schedule, we have all the other age groups have scheduled games already throughout the week and Saturdays and stuff. So I think last season, winter season, when that happened, they was able to squeeze like a game on a Saturday, and it was like back to back. So we had a game, we had another back to back game that same day. So I don't know what that schedule looks like. That's something that's at the KPR management group. That's for them to figure out, and them to decide whether they're able to squeeze in a second rescheduled game. Hopefully they'll be able to. If not, it's not that big of a concern. So I was really excited for tonight's game because I heard the other team had just as equally talented players, and they were expected to be one of the top teams, as are we. We have a good set of kids too, so that would show us where we stand. So I was really excited to win tonight's game, but we'll hold off on that on a later date, I guess, if it gets rescheduled. If not, it's not a big deal. We'll win Saturday and Friday, so we have those games coming up. Okay, so there's about 5 people, maybe 4 people. It is, what time is it? 7. It's only been 5 minutes. Okay, so what you're seeing here, this is the tactical board that I use when I'm trying to discuss things when it comes to things that occur on the field, whether it's I'm trying to explain positions, strategize, or things that we could work on, things some players may not be aware of, like the rules for offsides, right? That's one thing I want to cover. I got a little cheat sheet here, so I'm not just bumping my gums and going off the script. So offsides is something that I want to cover. Throw-ins, defending, and I think those are the three big things that I want to discuss, right? So you see here, I have this area highlighted. I have this area highlighted for a good reason, and then like this spot, these yellow spots. So I'm gonna cover these spots in a minute. But more importantly, you know, we are running a 3-3-2 formation with 3 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 2 forwards. We have our goalie here, right? So if you are playing any of these positions, you know, pay attention. Okay, so we did pretty well in our last game. Some things that I had already discussed, but I'll reiterate and I'll cover again here, is these spaces here. Pretty much like, I guess you want to call it the zone here. So the zone here. So when it comes to defending, we want to protect these zones just as much as the center area, right? Because this can be exposed if we're not too careful, right? So what do I mean by that? Okay, so we have defenders, but then we also have these players here, these midfielders. So their duties, and let me get like a different color here, light blue. So these midfielders, their area responsibility, it's like the midfield, right? It's in the name, midfielder. So pretty much like the middle area of this field, right? And this midfield is divided, the duty is divided by these 3 midfielders. So the left side really is, you have your left midfielder, right? And your responsibility for pretty much the center is the center mid, and then of course the right side for the right mid. It's in the name. So they're responsible for, you know, this area here. They can come up to here, they'll come back here and defend, help defend up until here, right? We don't really want to cross over here, because then now we have this area here. We don't have anyone offense or defense, right? Everyone has their place and everyone has their duties. Same thing over here. So we don't, if you're a left midfielder, you shouldn't be over here, because we have this guy, this is his job or their job, you know, they're gonna be covering this area. You need to be over here covering this area. So whether you're getting a cross or expecting a cross, and you're over here, we have no one. If the ball ends up in this area, we have no one here to carry and attack the ball. We have no one here to defend this ball. This is why it's important that if you're in the left or right position, that you have the discipline to kind of stay in this area, right? Because we have this area covered. Okay, you have to trust your teammates. Everyone has their area responsibility. Okay, same thing for back here. You're in defense, right? So you have your left fullback, your right fullback, and you have your center back. So if you're coming over here, right, the ball ends up here, it goes here, then it crosses over here. What you want to do in this situation, all right, let's add a defender here. So let's say our offensive player, so they came down and they're traveling the ball, you know, they're dribbling the ball here in this area. So this is your area, you're on this person, you're defending, you're gonna be on the outside. You want to push them out, right? But let's say they're gonna dribble and they're still going this way, they're gonna go horizontally instead of vertically, right? They're gonna keep going this way. So once they get across the halfway point, you know, the center fullback, they should pick up this player, right? There should be communication going on so that they can pick them up, and then they will fall back here. And just in case they have a buddy, they'll come down here and they will cross it into, because if you're concerned with him, you're following this person, and then you lose track of what's going on over here, they're going to come over here and they're going to cross it over to number 2. And now we're defenseless in this area. There's any questions, you can ask here. There's a chat section where you can make a comment. So you can comment on here. You can ask if this was your position, or if you had a question regarding this, or you saw something like this in the previous game. Go ahead and let us know, and I'll be glad to cover that. But it's important that we practice position discipline, right? Especially over here. It's a reason for everything, right? It's a reason why positions exist, right? I'll stake this guy here, and I'll put this guy back here. So, and then if you're the center fullback, this is pretty much like the captain of the defense here. So this person is pretty much gonna back here to make sure that if for some reason that our left midfielder or the right fullback gets beat, this is kind of like the last line defense. He's here to support both the left and right center fielders, but also pulling extra duties to kind of support 5 and 7 as well. And so this person here is pretty much has pretty much like the biggest the most responsibilities and the most important job during the whole game. They're communicating between 2 and 4. They're directing these players when to push up, when to pull back. Push up, right? Push up, that's what that means. So when you hear push up, it means we're pushing up. If you hear pull back, it means to fall back. So if you're not familiar with these terms, that's what that means. So you're pushing up and then you're pulling back. So push, pull, all right? So this player is going to dictate what the defense is going to do. They're going to communicate along with the goalie. More on the goalie later. So yeah, they're pretty much the captain of the defense, right? They're going to communicate. They might get the ball here. They might intercept. They might steal the ball from the offense, right? And then their job is to go ahead and they'll clear the ball and they'll feed it to our attacking mid or to one of our other midfielders, because these 5 up here are their playmakers. Their job is to create goals, right? Your primary job, if you're the center fullback, their primary job is to assist in defending the backfield, right? They can assist in clearing the ball, defending the ball, and getting to our attacking mid, feeding the ball up here, or they can clear it to our forwards. And their primary job is to score, right? So that's the fullback's job. So yeah, we covered these lanes and these lanes. So let me cover. I'm going to cover these spots next. So let me get rid of this so that way you're not confused. Again, if you're just tuning in, this should be archived. You'll be able to watch the beginning of this feed. All right. So, Coach, what are these yellow spots here? Okay, so these yellow spots, they're I guess you can say hot spots, right? They're hot spots. So we have our attacking playmakers, right? So these are pretty much would be the one creating all the plays that passing off in hopes to score a goal, right? Their job is to get in the key positions to take a shot at the goal. So the hot shots, these kind of like the hot spots, right? In here and here, they have these nice angles, right? So at an angle, It could be difficult for their goalie. Say this guy's a goalie, because they either have to worry about them going in here at this angle in this post, or maybe this far corner here where they can place a nice shot at the top left corner of this goal post or on the inside. So once they get inside these sweet spots, these hot spots, they have to make a decision, so they'll have to come out, they'll have to kind of like think where they want to defend the goal. And also they can come down here. So remember, these guys are supposed to create opportunities to score. They can continue to dribble in, right, to drive in, the attack. And then as this forward's moving, this forward should be moving, right, to get in the position for an assist. They should expect an assist to help out the other striker, to pass it and to knock this in, because we want to draw out their goalie, right? That's the name of the game. Draw this person out to create an advantage, preferably 2-on-1, 3-on-1, if we have more attackers, right? But yeah, like hotspot, that could be here. So this is what I like to call the kill zone, right? This is the kill zone. We get in here every time we get the opportunity to take a shot in here. Take a shot. We get the ball in this area, we should be, and if we get the opportunity, just take that shot. Because even if it rebounds off the goalie, everyone should be following through. You should be following through if you took this shot. And then the 8 or the other forward striker, if it rebounds, they should be right here and ready to just kind of knock it back into the goal, or to kind of dish it back out to the attacking mid, and they could take a shot from the outside. Alright, so yeah, that's hot spots. Any questions? No questions, right? So offsides. I want to cover offsides. So we don't want to be offsides much, right? So if you don't know what offsides are, I'll get rid of this. To paint the picture, we have possession of the ball, right? So your offsides, if there's no more defenders or players between the goalie and our last offender, right? So you can't be here because there's no one else here, so it has to be like another offensive player from the other team to receive the ball. That's not offside. But if you're right here, even if you're slightly here, if you have your foot slightly here, as soon as they pass it and you get the ball, they're going to call offsides. And yes, we would have loved to get the ball here, but we're offside, and then so now it's their ball and they'll get a free kick, or it's a foul, so they'll have the possession of the ball. So we have to be careful. I think we had 2-3 offsides in the last game. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Coach. I think the score. Okay, so the score. If you didn't know what the score was, it was 8-1. It could have been. I think we got 2 scores brought back, so it could have been 10-1. One of those scores, or I think maybe 2 of them, have been offside. So what happened was, we had a player here. We had a striker up here. We had, I think their goalie was up here, and we just had they had an army. They had an army of players, kind of like all the way, down here in this area, something like that, right? So they had a lot that play here, and then we had a player here, and I'm not gonna go the whole where exact location for every single player, but this kind of demonstrate what happened. So what happened was, we had no one play here. It was passed up here, and wheels back here, right? So, and so ball was kicked over here, but there's no other player from the other team between the goalie and this player here. So they received the ball, they knocked it in, and then we celebrated, and then whistle blew, offsides. Had there been a player like here, then that would have been fine. That would have been okay. But yeah, so offsides. If we're, let me get rid of the red here. Hopefully this is not confusing anyone. I just want to cover some things from our last game, right? Offsides was one of them. So we just gotta be careful. They're gonna have their defenders, right? Let's say, you know, there's the same formation as ours. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. They're going to have their midfielders. What is this? Okay, so I have, who is this? Troy, let me get rid of this person here. Sorry about that. I don't normally stream on YouTube, so I'm not used to getting people trolling and posting stuff they shouldn't post. But anyway, so this is their team. They have their forwards or striker. Okay, so there. So this is pretty much both teams, right? So they're gonna have players playing high, right, as they should. And we're gonna have our players high as well, our strikers / forwards. Now, let's say they have the ball, and then our defense is still, we pushed up, right? They pushed up. We say, hey, let's push up, because, you know, we are attacking. We're on the attack. We're attacking, and we have pushed up here, and we have their strike. They kind of stayed up here. They got the ball and they cleared it. So, you know, for some reason they got the ball, they cleared it. So they cleared it, they kicked way over here. And as soon as they make contact, right, that's gonna be offside, because there's no players between the goalie and them, right? So had we have players here, then that'd be fine. So we gotta be careful. So you can have players that's hiding up here, and then so if you're a fullback, I guess you could say in a higher league, for strategic purposes, they will purposely move up to prevent them from getting the ball, so they won't get past the ball because they know it'll be offsides. But yeah, I don't want to confuse anyone, right? So leave it at that. So you just have to be careful that you're not beyond their last player between the goalie, right? So if you're a striker, or say you're one of the midfielders, right, and they kind of appear, you don't pass up this last defender, their last defender. You know, you want to stay about right here. Anything up here, offsides, onside. Got it? Okay. Um, defending. Defending is a lot easier to cover. So let me just get rid of all of this. Okay, so we're defending. Now let's just get rid of. I'm just gonna put them in timeout for now. All right, put them in timeout. Okay, so they have the ball, right? We have our defense, our midfielders. They're also on the defense. Once they have possession of the ball, they're on defense, right? So they can come down here. Some of these players have speed and some have great footwork. So how do we prevent them from getting past the defender? So one thing that we talked about was to defend the ball whenever the ball gets in this area, right? We don't want to risk trying to win the ball, right? Meaning that winning the ball is like trying to fight for the ball. We don't want that to happen here, because if they get juked out, or they do a couple of fancy moves and getting burnt, then it leaves these other areas exposed, right? This area is exposed, this area is exposed, and if we're not on our guard, then it's going to put the goalie in an unfavorable position. Let me get rid of this real quick. Right, so we have this lane here. So let's use this lane for example. They're driving down the ball. Say they have, for some reason, a breakaway, and they're driving on here. Right, so their job, right, is they want to. Let me get this here. It's gonna drive it there, right? We want to keep them, and I don't like this color for that. They want to drive the ball towards the goal. We want to prevent them from driving towards the goal, right? So we want to push them to the outside, right? We want to push them to the outside. So if we're here, if you're on the right side and you see them coming up, you don't want to be too much on towards the sideline. We don't want to hear, because they still have that line of sight. We want to take this away from them. And how do we take that away? We want to cut them off. We want to cut them off. We want to drive them this way. So we do that by positioning ourselves towards the inside and face them, push them towards the outside. So they have no choice but to cut to the outside. So we're now that we're driving to the outside, the likelihood that the ball could go offside is a lot greater, right? So it's a lot of advantage for us, right? And they'll be forced to kind of drive this way, which is a lot tougher, because now we have an outside fullback here. So they get beat. Maybe they get burnt, right? Maybe they get beat out and they continue on this path. This is when they should come in, and they should still remain, push them towards the outside. We want to continue to force them to the outside, because it's a lot harder and more difficult for them to take a shot from out here than from in here. It's a lot easier to take a shot from this area than the outside area, right? And we kind of force them to the outside, and then a lot of things can happen. So and then once we defend the ball, we want to clear it. We want to clear down the field into the possession. Hopefully that one of our forwards will get to it. So I don't care if there's no one here. So if there's no one here, I'm hoping that we'll have our forwards get to it, right? So they lose the ball here, we'll kick it down here, right? And then once they see the ball in motion, they should be running towards, everyone should be running towards the ball. Well, on the outside, and then it should be something like this, right? So they're moving up to get to the ball. Something like that. So hopefully when it comes to defending, we want to push them towards the outside, whether it's on this side or on this side. We don't want to give them the inside lane, right? We don't want them on the inside. We want them on the outside. We want them running towards the sideline. So we could take this angle. We want to take the inside angle, an opportunity to pass it to, maybe to have a center. They're attacking center mid. We don't want them pass opportunity to pass on the inside to them, right? So we had them on the outside. They don't have a good shot or good clearance, whatever, to pass in here without it getting intercepted by one of our players. Right, so we want to force them towards the outside and keep them and take away the inside from them. That's what we want. Any questions? Any questions? Any comments? We all following so far? So we want them on the outside, right? Let me see. Defending. Okay, so in a nutshell, yeah, we don't want them in here, right? We want to cut them off. We definitely don't want them in here in the center. We don't want that. We don't want that, right? This is what we don't want. We want to prevent them from giving that direct access to the goal, right? Help the goalie out. We want to help out our defenders here. Force them towards the outside. And that's all based on, you know, body movement, you know. So if you want to force them towards the right side of the field, we're gonna position ourselves to the left. Let me see if I can get a better tool here to use. Maybe this, right? Maybe this will work. Give me a moment here. Okay, so we want to position ourselves facing this way, right? So we're cutting this off. And we're forcing them to go that way. Got that? Same thing if the ball's over here. They want to go over here, but we're going to take that away from them. We're going to cut them off. And see how this is angled? Let's draw this person back here. So facing this way. Okay, so let's do this. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna face that direction. Push him towards the outside. So we could take away in here. So we're taking this away from them. Force them towards the outside. So I hope this is making sense. If not, let me know. Shoot me a message. You can ask me in person at our next game. Hey coach, I watched the video. I kind of get what you're talking about. I had a question regarding when you're talking about position stuff, so you can ask me then. But think of it, facing this direction to kind of pushing towards the sideline. Okay, so we're cutting the center off, right? Now, if it's reversed, we want the inside. How do we beat? And take the extra soccer ball away. If we have the ball, right? If we're running and we're being chased, like they're chasing us, right? They're right here. And there you go. Just kind of bear with me when I'm changing my tools. And we're going, this is where we're headed to, right? We're headed here with the soccer ball. Right, so, and we're being chased. So what we want to do is we want the inside, but how do I go about getting around this person here? So we should have a good idea of how to do that, so I'm not gonna cover too much, but this is all based off of footwork and drills that we've covered in practices. Some of you have already done this before, so you could take the step overs. I know some of you are familiar with the step over, so whatever it takes to kind of juke them out. You can roll over to like feint or fake like you're going to the right side, like you're cutting to the right, and then cut back left to bypass them, right? So you can kind of pretend like you're going this way and then cut left, and then once you pass them, once you're past them, they're gonna give chase, and if they're faster than you, you don't want to give them up so they can do this and then kind of and cut you off, because that's what we're gonna do. That's what we do. We want to cut you off. They can do the same thing to prevent that from happening to us, right? Once you pass them, once you kind of feint and get them around, they're running this way, right? We're all running the same direction. Is once you get ahead, you're gonna cut them off here, and you just kind of get in front of them. So by that time, you'll have help. You're gonna have help here to pass the ball. And again, I don't want to cover too much in detail with this. This is more for the playmakers, so they're more familiar with these maneuvers or whatnot. But that's just an example, right? So we're gonna cut in, and to avoid us but being cut from the center. So we want to take advantage of the center as much as we can. So we can't allow ourselves to be cut out and forced out, right? Because our forwards, they're playing high, they're playing up here and towards the center. But if we're being forced this way, they can have defenders, they'll have defenders here. They can have defenders going this way, portion this way. And then because of our formation, right? Right? This person here, they're gonna have to get open somehow. They're gonna have get over here or somehow over here to help out 7, right? So just to kind of illustrate, it makes it more difficult for the other team or for us to get in favorable position to score. It's going to cause them to get out here to help out this person, because for the formation, there's no one here, right? There's no one really here. They can get out here, but we're getting pushed to the outside. We don't want that to happen because it makes it harder to get these clean passes in. It's going to force us to either pass back, right? So that's an option here to pass it back. They're going to push forward. They're pushing forward to kind of pass the ball back, and then so we can have to re-engage and to kind of re-attack. We don't want to kind of fall back and whatnot, because then it takes away more time, and then we have to fight and to go back into attack position. So we're when they put us in this position, they're taking away these tactics that we have. It takes away these opportunities to score. So um, just as illustrated. So less options. They'll either have to pass it back to where we have someone open because they can have no defenders back here, but we have an open player to where, okay, we can have to reset. We can have to reset, pass it back here. They'll pass it, here, and then once again, now we're replaying and we're attacking again because we got forced down the outside. Or we can attempt to cross, and hopefully we're crossing to 8, which is our other forward here, or maybe cross over here. And they have defenders too. That's coming towards the ball. So in that sense, it just makes it more difficult for us. And we want to do the same thing for them when we defend, pushing towards the outside. Why? Because it takes away these angles. It takes away opportunities for them to score, and they'll be doing the same thing to us. Okay, so clearing the ball. Let me clear this up. So hopefully that didn't confuse a lot of y'all. So almost done. So I think letting one cover. I think we're about 30 minutes in, right? So not too bad. Just a couple more minutes. So clearing the ball. So we get the ball, we defend the ball, and then we end up winning the ball through defending. We don't want to spend too much time. Let me get our players back in place. We don't want the ball too much on our side, right? We don't want the ball. Hold on, let me get my little favorite square. Let me get this here. So we don't want the ball here, right? We don't want the ball here. Well, we want the ball. It's kind of hard to see. Let me change that to a different color. We want the ball here on this side, so we don't want the ball here. This is kind of like a danger zone, especially when it gets down here. So once the ball gets right here outside the penalty box, this is like the danger zone. We don't want the ball here at all, right? So we get the ball here. We're gonna have players. We're gonna have midfielders up here, right? If they're where they're supposed to be at, right? Position discipline. Remember, if number 5, if you're down here and we win the ball here when we're defending and we clear it, there's no one here, right? So we need you in this area in case that happens, right? In case we win the ball and we clear it, we can go back on the attack, right? We can go on the attack. We have someone here and they can pass it to who? One of our forwards. So they can carry and they do what they're supposed to do is, score goals, right? So we don't want the ball in this area. As soon as the ball is here and we can defend it, we're clearing it. We're clearing on this side. So we want the ball, if possible, 80% or higher, to be on this side of the field, not our side, this side of the field, where we can create opportunities to score. This is where it's all math. So if you love math, you love numbers, right? The percentage is higher for us to score when the ball is on this side of the field than when the ball's here. If the ball remains here for throughout most of the game, we can have the percentage of us scoring is gonna be a lot lower, right? Because the ball's staying here. We're not really getting that many shots to the goal from here. Now over here, the ball's here. There's a lot of opportunities for us to take shots outside the penalty box from here, from earlier. Remember that earlier talking about like that these sweet spots. From the sweet spots, opportunities to score from here, to pass it in here and to score. We want the ball here at all costs. That's what these players here, and I will, hold on a second, let me remove this so I can highlight these players. Let me pick a color. Okay, these are playmakers, right? They will be the ones that are distributing the ball. They are the ones that are taking shots. They're the ones taking the free kicks, the corner kicks. They're ones responsible for making these plays happen, right? So we get the ball over here to these players. That's what we want. We can't make anything happen when the ball's on this side of the field. So see the ball come up here. If there's space, if there's no one in front of you, sure, go ahead and dribble out a little bit. You can take up the field, but I would prefer the ball to be cleared because of the percentage, right? The likelihood for us to score is better when the ball is cleared and goes in this area as opposed to hanging around back here. Okay, especially and at this level, right? The ball is gonna be here a lot. You know, we going a lot back and forth, but with this team, and with the passing and everything that we have going on, we have a better shot at scoring when it's down here because they know what they're doing. Usually they know their responsibilities, and who knows, they know who knows. I can't speak. Okay, so they know who's who and what responsibility they have, so they're going to communicate with each other as to what to do. Hey, you know, push up, I'm going to pass to you. Hey, I'm wide open. So I think that's the last thing. I lied. Okay, I know I said clearing the ball, but the last thing is communication, which we did pretty good with. We could do a better job at communicating. So communicate, whether you're on defense or offense. If they have someone that's really talented with the ball and they're always blowing through our center defense, we need to mark them, right? We need to mark. So mark, right? Mark, no matter who it is. So let's say whatever, right? So that's something I want to see more of. These players back here needs to pay attention of what's going on here. They have their forwards, their strikers. They need to be marked immediately. So once we figure out who their strikers are, who's getting the ball the most, then they need to be marked, right? And then whether it's a throw-in, okay, they're still in the game, whatever, they need to be marked. They need to be picked up. So you pick this up, you know, of course, the right mid, they'll pick up this person, right? So communicate, mark these potential threats, right? And that should be communicated amongst each other when you figure that out. I need to hear that more throughout the game. So because our players are, I'm pretty sure they're going to be marked and say, hey, watch out for number 8, watch out for Antonio, watch out for Devin, Kathy, Phil, Douglas, whatever the names are, right? Number 7, 12, 15, 22. In some way, they're going to mark our players, right? They're going to know what the potential threats are. We need to do the same thing. We need to do that faster and immediately. It's going to help our defense, right? Especially when they're attacking. So situation awareness, right? So they're helping out, and then it's like, hey, 4, you need to make sure you mark in 3, because they're concentrating on, let me switch to my arrow tool. They're going to focus on this person, and they can communicate with their left fullback to watch out for this person as well. So but they're not attacking by themselves. They got the other forward and they got the other personnel, so they need to be picked up too. So this can't be responsible for for two people at once. So you got to communicate with 4 to pick up this person and say, hey, I got 2 of the, they have the ball, so this is kind of a bigger threat. So 2-on-1, right? But look out for this guy because they could pass it here. We have our center mid to come up, to kind of help win the ball back and take it up, right? But we had to communicate. Mark this person, mark 2, mark 3, right? I got this guy. They're traveling on here, right? So this arrow is still going this way, and they're going this way. Number 2 no longer has a job. There's nothing back here for them to come, so they're gonna fall back here, and they may kind of fall back here just in case they kind of creep in. But that's something that has to be communicated between the defense, right? So it's a lot of talking. You have to kind of pay attention to what's going around. So that could be helped with peripheral vision. Okay, I lied again. I said that I wanted to add this, but then importantly, what is peripheral vision? Peripheral vision is, what you see from your side vision, right? So if I were to take, for example, this smiley ball here, right, and place it in front of me. Let's see in front of the camera, right here, right, and in front of me, and I'm looking straight, and I'm going this way. Well, you can't see because it's off screen. I should be able to see it all the way up to about here before it disappears. I can kind of see it by the corner of my eye. So anything, you might hear it differently. I saw you through the corner of my eye. That's peripheral vision, right? So when you're on the field and you're guarding, or you're looking down, you have that field of vision, right? But you have these what's called peripheral vision to kind of help. You want to focus here, but you want to keep aware of your peripheral vision. You have a teammate here, you have the person from the other team here. You have, okay, so if you're on defense, okay, I gotta watch out number 2. I knew he's over here, but he doesn't have the ball, but I know that he's here, right? I'm gonna communicate that, hey, watch out for this person here. I see him at the corner of my eye. You got that? Okay, watch out for 2, watch out for 2. We're communicating. I found this that kind of help you out. So we have this peripheral vision, right? So your right eye can see up to 95 degrees and 60, and then vice versa, right? The corner of your eye. Another example is the average human field of view. It's 120 degrees from this way, and then you have what's grayed out here. I don't know if I can zoom in. I don't know if I can zoom in here. Oh, yeah, I can. Okay, so check this out. So this is what's called the peripheral field right here, which you normally can't see. You can turn your head, you can see it, but that's not peripheral vision, right? Peripheral vision is what you can see from the corner of your eye without turning it. That's without turning your head. You can turn your head, yeah, that extends your peripheral, but we don't want to do that, right? We want to keep facing this way, but we want to be able to see the corner eye, right? So we want to take away your focus from the ball, if that makes sense, right? So we want to keep going up, looking up the field to see what's going on, but we don't want to lose our what's going on. We don't want to lose sight about where all the action is. So use your peripheral vision to keep a track of all these other pieces, right? So once I do this, I'm no longer seeing what's going on over here. I don't know what's going on because I'm focused on number 2, but there's no threat, right? If I'm looking here, I can still use my peripheral vision. So use that to help you maintain awareness on the field. And I think that's it. I promise. Okay, that's it. If you missed anything, if you have any questions, you can catch the archive. I hope this has been helpful for some of you. This has been an impromptu. This is not scripted. I'm just coming off a drive from a canceled game. I've covered offsides. I've covered, I said I covered. I didn't cover throw-ins, but I'm not gonna cover it because I promised I was done. We'll cover that. I'll bring that up pre-game at our next game. Promise. Defending, we spend the majority of time of defending, and then clearing the ball, and then the peripheral vision. So that's a recap, right? Recap: offsides, defending, clearing the ball, and peripheral vision. Also, I skipped one. Position discipline, right? That was, I think, the first thing I covered. So that's pretty much it. I'm done here. You can go on about your evening, dinner, homework, sleep, practice, what have you. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, if this helped, give a like, a thumbs up, or whatever that this had. It kind of lets me know that it worked. It has helped you in some capacity, right? If it didn't, that's cool. Let me know anyway. Hey man, I was like, I watched that and I already know this, and this really didn't help. It would have been helpful if you covered A, B, C, D. Let me know. It's gonna help me, help you, help anyone else that's watching this or watching the archive. Okay, so I think that's that. And say how do I don't stream on YouTube much, so I think I just hit this to end the stream.